Hello students, welcome to the another session of Environmental Science. I am Utkarsh Suryavanshi, Assistant Professor at AISSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. In this session, we are going to learn about the grassland ecosystem. So let us understand the objectives of the session. First one, introduction to grassland ecosystem. Second, different names of grassland. Third, the various characteristics of grassland ecosystem. Fourth, the components of grassland ecosystem. Fifth, functions of grassland ecosystem. And sixth, summary of the grassland ecosystem. So let us understand each objective in much detail. First one, introduction to grassland ecosystem. Grassland can be defined as ecosystem in which the dominant vegetative component is comprises of various herbaceous species. The term grassland can also be used in a broader sense to encompass ecosystem with a significant grass covering interspersed with varying degrees of wood vegetation. It also includes some deserts and shrubs grassland as well. Grassland ecosystem is a not wetland type of ecosystem with least 10% vegetation cover. The potential distribution of grassland ecosystem to a large extent is determined by three variables, mainly the climatic change, temperature and precipitation level. Three factors including drought, fire and grazing by large herbivores distinguish grassland from other ecosystem types. Grasslands are one of the intermediate stages in ecological succession and cover a part of land on all the altitudes and latitudes at which climatic and soil conditions do not allow the growth of the trees. Grassland make up almost a quarter of the total land surface. The types of plants that grow here greatly depend on the climatic condition and the soil in which they are grown. Grassland cover areas where rainfall is usually low and the soil depth and quality is also poor. The low rainfall prevents the growth of numerous trees and shrubs, but it is sufficient to support the growth of grass cover during the monsoon. So let us understand the second objective, which is different names of the grassland. In all over the globe, grassland are called by different names. So let us understand the major geographical regions and the name, how it is written or pronounced. In North America, it is known as prairie. Eurasia, it is known as steppes. In Africa, it is known as savanna. In South America, it is known as pampas. In India, it is known as grassland savanna. In Brazil, it is known as campos. In Venezuela, it is known as llanos. In South Africa, it is known as veld. And in Australia, it is known as down. Let us understand the third objective of the session, which is characteristics of grassland ecosystem. Some of the important characteristics of grassland are climate, fire and grazing are the three key factors that are responsible for origin, maintenance and structure of the most extensive natural grassland globally. Grassland can vary in the relative abundance of grasses and plant life forms such as trees and shrubs. Grasslands are characterized by high allocation of plant biomass below the ground. There is a large input of plant root litter to the reduced soil in high fertility of grassland soil, particularly in temperate regions. Roots of the most species in all the prairie grassland penetrate up to 2 meters in length. Next objective will be the various components of grassland ecosystem. These components will be abiotic component, second biotic component, third human influence or human component, and fourth ecological processes as well. So let us understand and go through these components in much detail. First one, abiotic component. Abiotic component comprises of climate, soil, sunlight, water and fire. Climate. Grassland typically experience distinct seasons with significant variation in temperature and precipitation level. They often have hot summers and cold winters. The precipitation level ranges from 250 mm to 750 mm annually, which is very much sufficient to support the grasses but not generally enough to sustain the growth of a large forest. Second, soil. Grassland soils often are also called molly soils. They are typically rich in organic matter and nutrients. They are very deep, fertile, resulting from the decomposition of extensive root system of grasses. The soil structure and composition can vary upon the type of soil on which the grassland ecosystem are grown. Some might have a sandy soil, some might have a clayey soils as well. Sunlight. Sunlight play a very crucial role for the growth of grass. Grassland receives ample sunlight throughout the year, which is very much essential for photosynthesis process. The open environment ensures minimal shedding, allowing sunlight to reach all levels of vegetation. Next will be water. Water availability in grassland can be seasonal and are often tied to the regional climatic pattern. The grassland ecosystem relies on periodic rainfall, and in some areas water can be a limiting factor affecting the growth of plant and survival of the grass as well. The last component of abiotic will be fire. Fire is a natural and essential component of many grassland ecosystems. It helps to control the growth of woody plants, recycling nutrients back into the soil, and promote the growth of grasses as well. Forest fire regime can vary, but periodic burning is crucial for maintaining the grassland environment. So let us understand the biotic component of ecosystem. First one is from the producer perspective, second from consumer perspective, and third one from decomposer perspective. So let us understand from the producer perspective. The first biotic component under producer are grasses. Grasses are the dominant vegetation in grassland. which include varieties of species. To name a few, like bluegrass, ryegrass, and fisk. They have extensive root systems that help in nutrient cycling and soil formation. Next will be forbs. Forbs are basically herbaceous flowering plant which are different from the grasses. To name a few, like clover, sunflower, and wildflowers. They contribute to the biodiversity and provide food and habitat for various organisms. Next will be shrubs. Though it is not in much dominant variety, some shrubs and small trees may be present in grassland, especially in transitional zones. These include species like sagebrush and acacia. Next will be algae and mosses. These are very less common but can be found in moist areas due to their nature, which will emerge on the soil surface. It contributes to the primary productivity of the ecosystem. Let us understand from the consumer perspective. The first one is herbivores. Herbivores are the primary consumers of grassland. They include large mammals like bison, antelope, zebras, and kangaroos. Smaller mammals like rabbit and rodents are also part of the herbivore. These animals often graze on grasses and forbs. Second will be carnivores. Carnivores are secondary consumers that prey on herbivores. Examples include lions, cheetah, wolves, and coyotes. They help control herbivore population and maintain the ecological balances as well. Next will be omnivores. Omnivores include some bird species and small mammals like raccoons and foxes that feed on both the species of plant and animal and contribute to ecosystem diversity. Insect and other invertebrates. Insects such as grasshoppers, beetles, and ants play a crucial role in pollination and decomposition. It also acts as a food source for other animals. Earthworms and other soil invertebrates aid in soil aeration and nutrient recycling. Let us understand from the third perspective, which is decomposers. First one will be fungi. Fungi include mushrooms and molds which decompose the organic matter, return nutrients to the soil as well. They form a very symbiotic relationship with plant roots, which also add in the nutrient uptake of the soil. Next will be bacteria. Soil bacteria decompose dead plants and animal matter, facilitating in nutrient cycling and also maintaining the soil health. They also play a very crucial role in nitrogen fixation, converting atmospheric nitrogen into the forms usable by the plants. Next will be detrivores. Detrivores such as certain insects, millipedes, and earthworms break down the organic matter into smaller particles. It aids in the decomposition process and nutrient release. Let us understand the third component, which is human influence. How human has a greater influence on the grassland ecosystem. First influence will be in the terms of agriculture. Grassland are often converted into agricultural land for the growing of crops and grazing livestock. This can lead to habitat loss, soil degradation, and changes in natural ecosystem dynamics. Next will be urbanization. With the changing needs of demands, the urbanization is happening at a rapid pace. The expansion of the cities and the infrastructural development can hugely impact the grassland ecosystem. It is also a main cause for the loss of biodiversity and disruption of many ecological processes. Next, conservation efforts. In order to stop the urbanization and other factors, it is very important to understand the efforts which we need to put on for the conservation of grassland ecosystem. Creating a protected area, promoting sustainable agriculture practices, and reintroducing native species are some of these. These initiatives aim to maintain biodiversity and ecological balances. Next will be ecological processes. First one is nutrient cycling. Nutrient cycling in grassland involves the decomposition of organic matter, root exudation, and microbial activity. This process maintains the soil fertility and support the plant growth as well. Next one will be energy flow. Energy flows through the grassland ecosystem from producer to primary consumer, then to secondary and tertiary consumers. Decomposers break down the organic matter, returning energy to the system. Next will be ecological succession. Grassland can undergo succession where species composition and community structure change during the course of the time due to various disturbances like fire, grazing, and climatic fluctuation. Let us understand the functions of grassland ecosystem. Grassland ecosystem serves a variety of crucial ecological, economic, and social functions. These functions are integral to maintain the biodiversity, supporting human livelihood, and regulating the environmental processes. Below are the detailed functions of grassland ecosystem. First one is ecological, second economic, third environmental, fourth social and cultural, and fifth will be conservation functions. First one, ecological function. First one will be the biodiversity support. Grasslands are home to a wide variety of plant and animal species which contribute to the global diversity. They provide habitat for numerous species include grasses, forbs, and insects, birds, and mammals as well. Next one will be the soil formation and protection. The extensive root system of grasses helps in the soil formation and stabilization. These roots prevent soil erosion by holding the soil particles together and reducing the impact of wind and water erosion. The organic matter from decaying plant enhances the soil fertility and structure as well. Next, nutrient cycling. Grassland ecosystem plays a vital role in nutrient cycling. Plant absorbs various kind of nutrients from the soil which also transferred from the food web and decomposed in the form of fungi and bacteria. This break down dead organic matter returns the nutrients back to the soil and maintain the soil fertility, which will be beneficial for ecosystem. Next will be water regulation. Grasslands are often influenced by the hydrological cycle of storing the water, and it acts also as a natural filter as well. The vegetation reduces the surface runoffs, promotes the recharge of the groundwater resources as well. It also maintains streams during the dry period. This regulation is crucial for maintaining the water quality and availability. Next one will be carbon sequestration. We often know that the Grass are also the carbon sinks which capture the atmospheric carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and store it in their biomass. This method mitigates the effect of climate change by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Next one will be economic function. First economic function will be the agriculture and livestock raising. Grassland are essential for agricultural production, particularly for grazing livestock such as cattle, sheep and goats. They provide forage and pasture. It also support as for the meat, milk and wood production. Next one will be renewable resources. Grassland offer various renewable resources including fodder, medicinal plants and raw material for the industries. These resources support local communities and contribute to the sustainable development for various grassland areas as well. Next will be the most important, the tourism and recreation. Grassland attract tourists from across the world for wildlife viewing, bird watching, hiking and photography. Though it is not directly associated with grassland, but grassland being part of the forest, it is much more essential. Ecosystem generates revenue for local communities and promote the conservation awareness. Protected grassland areas such as national parks and reserves are very popular destination. Next one will be the environmental function. First will be the climate regulation. As we all know that the climate is much more important for the survival of any species, grassland influence the global and local climate through their role in carbon cycle. They often store carbon dioxide from the ecosystem, and additionally it can help to moderate the local temperature and provide a moisture through transpiration as well. Next one will be the pollination services. Many grassland plants rely on insects such as bees and butterfly for pollination. These pollinators are crucial for reproduction of plants, including crops that are vital for food production. Next, air quality improvement. Vegetation in grassland can act as a very good air quality qualifier by trapping dust, pollutants and various matters. Plants are also responsible for the releasement of oxygen into the atmosphere through photosynthesis process. Next one will be the social and cultural function. Cultural heritage. Grassland hold a significant cultural value for many indigenous and local communities. They are often associated for historical and cultural importance, where traditional practices like herding and ceremonial activities also takes place. Next one will be educational and scientific research. Grassland provide a wide variety of opportunities for education and scientific research. They serve as a natural laboratories for studying various ecological processes. Next will be recreational space. Grassland often offer recreational space for outdoor activities such as camping, bird watching, etc. These activities promote physical health and mental well-being and appreciation for the nature as well. The last function will be the conservation function. It also acts as a habitat for the wildlife as well. Grassland provide critical habitat for wide range of species which are endemic and endangered. Conserving grassland helps to protect these species from extinction and supports overall biodiversity. Next will be ecosystem services. By maintaining grassland, we can ensure that the provision of essential ecosystem services such as water purification, flood regulation and soil fertilities are maintained. So let us summarize this topic. In conclusion, grassland ecosystem perform numerous functions that are very much essential for ecological balances, though it can be economic from perspective, environmental perspective and cultural perspective as well. Grassland ecosystems are complex and multifaceted with an intricate interaction among abiotic and biotic components. Understanding these elements and their relationship is crucial for managing and conserving this valuable ecosystem which we have. Thank you.